Is Meghan Markle playing the fame game with her own kids? That's the question everyone's whispering about right now. For years, she's told us privacy was her number one priority. She didn't want Archie and Lilibet anywhere near the spotlight. But suddenly, just as her latest Netflix project starts to lose steam, we're seeing carefully crafted behind-the-scenes photos of the kids popping up online. Coincidence? Or is this Meghan's most strategic move yet? Stick around, because by the end of this video, you'll see why so many people believe Meghan has crossed a line she can't step back from. Let's rewind for a second. Meghan Markle and Prince Harry didn't just leave the royal family, they rebranded themselves. Their story became about freedom, independence, and most of all, protection from the press. Over and over, Meghan emphasized one thing. Her children are off limits. She made it clear she didn't want Archie or Lilibet growing up in the same circus Harry did. No intrusive cameras, no paparazzi waiting outside schools, no tabloid headlines dissecting every move. That was the brand, the promise, the foundation of their entire new life. But here's where it gets weird. Out of nowhere, we start seeing glimpses of Archie holding a clapperboard on a Netflix set. Lilibet perched in a director's chair like she's part of the production crew. Their faces are blurred or turned away, sure, but let's not pretend that's an accident. These aren't random family snapshots. These are curated promo shots. And the timing? Suspiciously perfect. Her new series with Love, Meghan hasn't exactly set Netflix on fire. It's not in the top 10. Critics are lukewarm. Even the so-called hate watchers, the people who tune in just to criticize, are losing interest. So, what happens when the buzz starts fading? Boom. Out come the kids, not in a way that fully exposes them, but just enough to spark curiosity, just enough to make headlines. And this is where people are torn. Is Meghan crossing into Kardashian territory, where children become part of the brand? Or is this just a harmless peek into her life as a working mum? Here's the contradiction that's driving people crazy. Meghan built her image on the idea of protecting her kids. That's what gave her credibility. That's what made people sympathetic. But now, she's dangling just enough of Archie and Lilibet in front of the cameras to keep interest alive. Their faces aren't fully shown, but their presence is obvious. That blurry middle ground, not too exposed, not too hidden, gives her total control. But let's be honest, you can't have it both ways. If you tell the world your kids are private, but then bring them out whenever your project needs attention, what message are you really sending? And here's where it gets messy. In one photo, Archie's wearing a soccer jersey. Fans with eagle eyes traced it back to a youth football academy in Los Angeles. Suddenly, the internet knew where he spends his weekends. Sounds harmless? Not really. Because now you've just given away details about a child's real life, where he trains, where he might be on certain days, who he might be with. That's not just PR. That's a potential safety risk. And guess who knows exactly what that feels like? Harry. Harry has been crystal clear about one thing. He doesn't want his kids growing up like he did. His childhood was a headline factory. Every photo, every expression, every school event became a media feeding frenzy. He said over and over that it damaged him. So, how does he feel watching his wife lean into the very thing he tried to escape? Insiders claim he's not happy. Royal commentators suggest there's friction behind the scenes. On camera, he looks supportive. But privately, people say he's furious. And here's the real question. Is Harry powerless to stop it? Or has he simply given up? Let's talk about those photos again. They weren't accidental. They weren't casual. These were staged, polished, and perfectly positioned to look like candid family moments. Archie with the clapperboard, Lilibet in the director's chair, Meghan framed as the cool working mum balancing career and kids. Even the playlist she shared online, with songs like Lovely Day and Summer Breeze, felt less like a mom posting about her life and more like a marketing team crafting a vibe. Relatable, but just polished enough to sell a brand. But instead of feeling authentic, it came across as manufactured. And of course, the internet did what the internet always does. It dissected every pixel. What shirt was Archie wearing? What brand was the chair? Was this really the Netflix set, or just an Instagram backdrop? In seconds, the kids went from being private to being public property. Exactly the kind of thing Meghan claimed she was protecting them from. And this is what critics can't stand. She says one thing, but then does the opposite when it's convenient. Royal commentators didn't hold back either. Hugo Vickers, a well-known biographer, went as far as to call it exploitation. He compared it to political figures in the UK who deliberately shield their kids unless absolutely necessary. A quick photo when leaving Downing Street and then nothing. Total privacy. Meghan, on the other hand, appears to be taking the opposite approach, and experts warn that Harry, of all people, should know how dangerous that path is. Here's the question no one can answer yet. What happens when Archie and Lilibet grow up? Will they look back and feel proud they were a part of their mum's creative journey? Or will they feel like props in a bigger story they never agreed to? We've seen it before. Celebrity kids speaking out years later about how their childhoods were used for fame or attention. Could Meghan and Harry's children end up doing the same? Remember, Meghan and Harry's whole brand was built on escaping the royal machine. They wanted to control their own narrative. The Oprah interview, the podcast, the first Netflix docuseries, all of it was wrapped in the language of healing, boundaries, and independence. But now, the message feels watered down. It's no longer about escaping the spotlight. It's about using the spotlight strategically. And the kids are part of the package. Ironically, the very privacy Meghan tried to enforce has made Archie and Lilibet even more valuable to the media. Every new glimpse becomes a collectible. Every blurry photo becomes a headline. The less we see of them, the more curious people become. And let's not ignore the biggest danger here: safety. That one photo of Archie's soccer jersey gave away more than Meghan probably realised. Within hours, people had figured out exactly where he trains. Even the academy itself started sharing the buzz. Now, we're not just talking optics. We're talking about children's real locations being exposed online. That's a security nightmare. For a couple who claimed they left the royal family partly to escape danger, this feels like a serious contradiction. And then there's Meghan's father, Thomas Markle. He's been vocal in interviews saying he wants his grandchildren to know he tried, that it wasn't his fault he was cut off. Messy? Absolutely. But it adds another layer. Because the more Meghan pushes her version of the narrative, the more her family, and even Harry's, become side characters in a story they don't control. It raises the question, is Meghan telling her truth? Or is she curating a truth that fits the brand? Netflix hasn't confirmed a third season of her show. Everything depends on how this second installment performs, which makes the sudden inclusion of the kids feel even more strategic. When attention fades, Meghan knows exactly how to get it back. Drop a rare photo, spark a headline, reignite curiosity. But how long can that strategy last? At the end of the day, this isn't just about Meghan Markle. It's about the bigger question of what happens when privacy turns into performance. Is she protecting her kids? Or is she packaging them? Is Harry really okay with this? Or is he silently struggling behind the scenes? And most importantly, what happens when Archie and Lilibet, are old enough to understand how their childhood was framed for the world? Because, make no mistake, the internet never forgets. Every blurry photo, every curated caption, every candid moment is archived forever. So while Meghan might think she's controlling the narrative, the truth is, once the kids become part of the brand never lets them go. So, what do you think? Is Meghan simply being a proud mom sharing family moments? Or has she crossed the line into using her children as PR tools? Drop your thoughts in the comments. I'm really curious where you stand on this one. And if you enjoyed this breakdown, don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit the bell so you don't miss the next deep dive into royal drama. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.